Hi everyone, welcome to Wheelspin Media. My name is Josiah, and today I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about Monterey Car Week, specifically where the best places are for car spotting and just seeing some really awesome cars. So starting off, we have Carmel. Mainly when you hear Carmel, people are talking about Ocean Avenue. And so this is just the main road that runs through downtown Carmel. And Carmel's just a small town, but a very wealthy area, and it has some great food, great shops. And so this is where you'll see lots of wealthy people hanging around, and everybody kind of just brings their cars there to flex, but also to get food. As I said, it's kind of the nice area to eat. So you will see a lot of pretty awesome cars, mainly on Ocean Avenue, but if you walk down some side streets, you'll see things in parking garages. I found an EB 110 in a random parking garage, and all the side roads will be full of pretty awesome cars because the main road packs up pretty quick. And next is going to be 17 Mile Drive and Highway 1. These spots are full of awesome cars driving up and down, also taking pictures. So you'll run into a lot of photo shoots here, which is why I think this is one of the best places to see cars. You can see cars all over Monterey, but there will always be people and you'll never get a perfect shot. But on these roads, mainly 17 Mile, you'll see a ton of photo shoots. So the cars are just lined up for the perfect photo. And one of my favorite photos I've taken of all time at Car Week, this being my fifth year, is this picture of the Bugatti Chiron, just with the water in the background, no people around. It was just perfect. And so this is the kind of thing you can run into on 17 Mile. I'm not saying you will every time because there's a lot of car spotters that will also pull over for these photo shoots. And the same goes for Highway 1, although it's a lot harder to stop and find a place for photos. So it's just not as easy to access, but you will see lots of people and some cars stopped here and there. A lot of people will go up to Big Sur since it's a nice drive with great views. And I found out about this last year, so I will definitely be spending more time on Highway 1. The views are stunning. Next is Spanish Bay Inn, which is located in Pacific Grove, I believe, near Pebble Beach. So it's closer to the actual town of Monterey. It's probably about 15 minutes from Canary Row, and it's right off of 17 Mile Drive, kind of at the beginning. And so all it is a hotel, but it is pretty much where all the big ballers and extremely rich people stay. And their cars are all valeted at the front, which means you're just gonna see a very stacked roster of cars in one row. So people, I remember one year there was about five Bugatti Chiron Super Sports since they were just released, and so they lined them all up at the front of that hotel because that's where most of the owners were staying. So if you just drive up, park in the spectator lot or, general parking, which there's also stuff to be found in there. Found a Pagani Huayra, seen Apollo IEs driving through there, and more normal stuff like Aventadors and things like that will be parked in that area, just the general parking. There was a Chiron Pure Sport in there last year, and so there's stuff to see all around Spanish Bay, and it's just a big hotspot for all of these rich people to park and kind of show off their cars. You will find a lot of people there as far as car spotters and YouTubers, so all that kind of thing is just something to be wary of, but it's a great concentration of some awesome cars. Next, we have Canary Row, which is a very well-known part of Monterey. It has a few hotels there, some great food, great shops, and so this is a hot spot mainly for tourists, but you will find some pretty awesome cars parked up and down the main road sometimes. I mean, usually you will. And last year, Koenigsegg had a Gemera on display at just kind of the central, I don't know what you'd call it, seating area or kind of dining area, just an open patio. There was just a Gemera sitting there and never expected it. I just caught it out of a glimpse and decided to go check it out. And it just sat there the whole of Monterey Car Week. And that's because Koenigsegg, a lot of owners will stay at the hotel there, and there's a couple parking garages there you can try to get into, but there's a lot of security. I won't say too much on that because it's kind of a private spot. But nevertheless, Cannery Row is always bound to have something awesome. And finally, downtown Monterey, or kind of just the main part of Monterey, is also a great place to spot. And particularly, this is where Sotheby's auction takes place, and you can just walk down the main row next to the Portola Hotel, which is where Sotheby's is located, and see all the cars that Sotheby's has to offer. And then there's also a parking garage next door that always has tons of awesome cars. And it's not super well secured. It's a public garage, so it's fairly easy to get into, and there's always some awesome stuff. And then while you're there, you're bound to see something cool cruising down the main roads of Monterey. And so it's just a great place to hang around if you don't mind spending the money on Sotheby's. I think it's about $70 now to get in, but they're always stacked with some amazing cars. One year they had a McLaren F1 and a 250 GTO, and so they just have some really high dollar, awesome cars. But as I said, you can see a lot of the main stuff just by walking through downtown Monterey next to the Portola Hotel. They'll have kind of their main machine on display outside, just right off of the main road. And one year that was a Pagani Zonda R or McLaren P1 and just all sorts of stuff. So there's always something awesome to see there, and it'll never let you down. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'd greatly appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, whether it's Car Week, cars, anything of the sort. I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. And thank you again for watching. God bless.